Yes, these are very important in our day-to-day life. So through this only we can interact with others, we can build up our confidence, we can develop interaction, we can make friends, and as a result, we can succeed in our life. Now, what are these social skills? Now, these social skills vary from depending upon the priority. It may be our daily routine activities, how we interact with the people. It may be how we interact with the other people, how with the family members. So these are the things where we learn also through the environment, what we learn through our peers, through our interactions with others, and through the experiences of adults, our peers. So means to say there is no such standard definition which we can say, yes, these are the words which has to be included in socialization skills. So it's a very vast term. So depending upon how we can build up, we have to work accordingly to the needs of the child. So the important thing is that in ASD kids, now normally we know that these things which I have just described, imitation, how people learn. Now mostly what happens, children generally learn from seeing by the others, either initial life through their parents, then as they grow up, it may be through their peers or through the experiences in the life. Now these things develop naturally because there are three most important fundamentals which are there: imitation, joint attention, and eye contact. We'll be discussing on these three parameters, why they are so important in our life, whether it is an autistic or a neurotypical child. So coming to the autistic kids or non-neurotypical kids, why these things are very important and why these things do not come naturally. The main important things is that we have eye contact, joint attention, and imitation. Now, these three important factors are missing to some extent, either depending upon the severity of the child. It may be to 20%, 30%, or maybe in some kids up to 100%. So as a result of this, we face a lot of problems in developing socialization skills in our kids. So how we can develop these factors, how we can help them. As a result of this, because of this lack of parameters on these socialization skills, children do hamper in their day-to-day life. They may be mood swings, anxiety issues. They may not be able to interact with others. Peer relationships are not good. They may be thrown out from the employments. They may not be working in a conducive environment. Their relationships may not be good, or they may be facing what we call as impairment in social pragmatics. They may be speech issues. They may be clarity issues. Or so these are the different ways. They may not be able to communicate verbally in an appropriate socialized manner as 90% of the natural human population do. So these are the various factors which may affect the child who are on the spectrum in day-to-day life, thereby in the future. Now, as a result of these things definitely result in losing their confidence and what we call the motivation to learn further things. So why social deficits do happen in kids or in autism? Now, basically, there are three theories which have been put forward for the factors responsible for social deficits in autism. The first theory, which they say, is social deficit hypothesis or motivation theory. Now, as per this theory, they say that whenever we do something, whenever we interact, there should be an internal motivation within us. Now, I'm not talking about autistic, I'm not talking about neurotypical. For any child to do anything, there should be an internal motivation. Now, this internal motivation is not that much mature enough in the children who are on the spectrum. Now, this motivation, what we call, is basically happens in the cerebral cortex. Now, in the cerebral cortex, there are different areas of the brain, what we call as the frontal area of the brain. Now, frontal area of the brain is the most important and highest functioning area of the brain, which plays a very important role in socialization. Now, research have shown, and various neuroimaging means MRIs and CTs and various other things, and literature have shown that these area in the children who are in the spectrum is not properly developed, or it is not mature enough, or it is not functioning accurately compared to 90% of the human population. So as a result of which, they face these internal deficits of motivation, so hampering their social deficits or socialization skills. So this is one theory, what is called as motivation theory. Now, another theory is theory of mind. Now, what is this theory of mind? Now, theory of mind refers to the ability to understand the desire, the needs, the emotions of others. And it is a skill which normally develops in kids between the age of 4 to 6 years. in a neurotypical developing child, but doesn't happen in the children who are in the spectrum. This theory is not considered to be appropriate in terms of defining social deficits in autism, because theory of mind clearly states that they fail to understand the ability and desires and emotions of others. Whereas, so it is talking about social awareness. कि ये बच्चा दूसरों की uh, please kindly mute yourself. So this theory talks about that जो बच्चे होते हैं उस spectrum, they are not able to identify or not able to do the face reading of others. This theory never talks about the desires to understand their emotions. So what we call as self-awareness. So this theory is not accepted, because to understand the emotions of others, the child should first understand the emotions of himself, which is very much lacking in children who are on the spectrum, what we call as self-awareness. So first self-awareness should come, then social awareness is come. So theory of mind is not accepted for the terms of social deficits in autism. The third theory which there has been described is the neuronal underconnectivity. Now they say that there are different areas of the brain, as we have told you, frontal area, temporal area, occipital area. So what happens in children who are on the spectrum, their connections are more advanced in occipitotemporal area. Occipitotemporal area means the back portion of the brain. In a simple term, the back portion of the brain, whereas the frontal area means the front portion of the brain. Now the frontal areas are the most, I have told you, the advanced areas, and they are involved in social process. Socialization means processing information which is required to interact with others. So this interaction, so this social information or social processing in neurotypical kids is occurring to the frontal area, whereas in autistic kids, it is occurring to the temporo-occipital area, means the back portion. So as a result, it is not mature enough, and it is not mature enough to do the social processing information which is required to interact with others or in day-to-day life. So means to say the neuronal connectivity or the connectivity of the neurons is not matured enough in autistic kids compared to neurotypical kids. So these are the three theories which have been put forward why social deficits happen in children who are on the spectrum. Among these, the most accepted one is the motivation theory. So I'll be discussing a detail about motivation theory in a few slides. So what is the social motivation theory? As we have discussed, it means that the child does not have an internal desire to motivate, to interact, to whatever we can say, either to talk, to interact, whatever the thing, but there is no internal desire for motivation. Now, for the motivation to happen, remember the term social motivation. For the social motivation to happen, there are three basic prerequisites which are required. What we call as social orientation, social reward, and social maintaining. Now, what does social orientation means? Social orientation means the ability of the child to preferentially orient toward the social world. This is called social orientation. I will give you an example to make it more clear. Social reward means he gets that pleasure when he interacts with others, when he plays with others. Maybe it may be a peer group, maybe it may be an adult, whatever. He feels that pleasure, he feels that reward. As a result, he continues to maintain that relationship with us. That is called as social maintaining. Now, for example, we have seen that the children who are on the spectrum, and most of the parents must have experienced, suppose there is a autistic kid, he is an age in the 3 to 4 years, and there are other neurotypical kids which are playing in the same room. 3 to 4 children, neurotypical kids are playing, and this autistic child is sitting alone and is involved in his own world. So mother must be trying, beta wahan jaake khelo, wahan jaake khelo, wo jayega hi nahi, because he is not very much oriented toward that social orientation ki wo bacche kya kar rahe hain. He is not bothered. He is more interested in playing in his own world with that particular wheel of the toy or a ball. So there is no social orientation. Now, for example, if the mother takes the child in his through his arms and put him in the center of those four children, so that means he has somehow developed his social orientation towards him. कि उसको वहां जाके बिठा दिया preferentially so that gets oriented. But what will happen? He will not get he won't get that social reward. Means उसको वहां pleasure नहीं मिलेगा. He won't get that pleasure that what those kids are saying, because he is not able to understand. He's not able to develop that peer relation. So as a result, what will happen eventually? That after 3 to 4 minutes, in spite of mother being taking him in the group of those 5 kids, he will eventually come out from the group and will sit alone at the corner of the room. So that means there is no social reward. We can passively give the social orientation to the child, but social reward has to be given internally, or what we call actively, by the child. So that is not developed. So as a result of it, what will happen? It will come alone and will not be able to carry out the social interaction with us. जब social reward ही नहीं होगा, तो there is no way that the child will able to do social maintenance. So these are the three most important parameters for social motivation to happen in any kid, any child of any particular age. So the first and the foremost thing is social orientation. That is the thing which is lacking in our kids. So we have to first work on social orientation, then social reward, then social maintaining. Then only we will be able to interact with others, or what we call social motivation will develop. And why this happens? Now this happens because we all know that, now I'll be going little in more detail about the biological mechanism. We all know that there are different types of neurotransmitters, and there are different types of excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitters. Most importantly, we must have heard about glutamate and GABA. Now what happens, there is a disimbalance occurs between these two neurotransmitters, excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitter, as a result of which, because of this you can say disimbalance between the two of these neurotransmitters, the balance between the two never happens. As a result, either the excitatory will be in a state of predominancy, or the inhibitory will be in the state of predominancy, depending upon the situation. That is why we have seen the child may go there and will sit with, but because of his hyperexcitability, or because of his excessive letharginess, that he may not do anything, he'll be just sitting like a ideal child, or maybe because of his excess hyperactivity, either he may be throwing things, he may not be passing things, he may be looking here, or he may be throwing the ball, instead of passing to the child, he may be throwing up in the sky. So because of those things, he may not be able to maintain that social reward or social orientation. As a result, he will be thrown out from the group. So this is the thing which actually happens because of these disimbalance between the neurotransmitters of excitatory and inhibitory. So these factors affect these parameters. So what are the most important early predictors of social skill development? Now, I have used these three words which I have told you in the beginning of my presentation: joint attention, eye contact, and imitation. These are the three most fundamentals for any child, in any child, to develop socialization. Now, remember one thing, socialization develops in socialization is 90% non-verbal. So it is not, we are not bothered whether the child is verbal or not verbal, because 90% of our communication is non-verbal. Only 10% of our communication is verbal. The non-verbal communication is very, very important in a child to understand the feelings, the emotions, the interactions, and even, to succeed in further in a peer interaction or socialization. So coming to the first fundamental, or the predictors of early social, you can say, interaction or socialization, the first is joint attention. Now this picture I have drawn, it is a very nice image which I have taken. It clearly shows what does this joint attention mean. Now joint attention means it is the ability to share a common focus on something. Now see these two kids, their focus of attention is this drum in the center. Maybe, so that means they are both in a state of some attention. Either it, though they may be in a different state of attention, he may be more attentive, the left or the right one may be more attentive, but their focus of attention is that object. So joint attention means your focus of attention, your focus or the eye gaze should be focusing to the same object with different sense of goal, or it may be with a different sense of emotion. I'll describe it a little more. What does that mean? So coming to this picture. Now, what does this joint attention? Now, joint attention involves three important parameters: attention, emotions, intention. Attention means that when two people, and joint attention never happens in an isolated child. For a joint attention to happen, you should always have at least two kids or two persons. Either it may be an adult or a child. It doesn't matter, but two persons has to be there. So for joint attention to happen successfully, there are three important parameters: attention, emotion, and intention. Now look at this picture of the grandfather and the son and the child. So attention. Now suppose I'm just imagining that this kid is showing his grandfather a bird in the sky. So what is happening in this picture? Attention. Both of them are keeping the same attention. Both of them are giving. Kindly mute yourself, please. Kindly mute yourself. In this picture, both of the grandson and the grandfather, both of them is giving an attention to that particular object in the sky. Maybe they may be in a different state of attention. The child may be more enthusiastic. The grandfather may be less, but both of them are giving the attention to that particular object. Emotions. Now both of them are in some sort of emotion. Again, The child may be, again, he may be more enthusiastic, he may be more excited to show his grandfather that I want to, so there is the bird, or there is this bird in the sky. So both of them are in a state of emotion. The grandfather may be happy that, oh, the child is showing me that particular object or whatever. So both of them are in some state of emotions. Then intention. Now both of them are trying to search for or trying to see or point out that object in the sky. Now, so these three things are very important. Now imagine if the child is, if the grandfather is not putting an attention, what will happen? The child may be showing, see, there is a bird in the sky, and the father, the grandfather is looking here and there. Then that is not joint attention. Joint attention means he should look at that particular object. So here the child is initiating the joint attention and the grandfather is following it. So from this pic, it clearly shows that joint attention has to have three important parameters: attention, emotions, intention. Now, again, attention is a big problem in our kids. Emotions, we regularly talk about self emotions, regulation, dysregulation. Again, emotions is a problem. Intention might be some, they might develop, some might be in a different state of intention. We'll discuss about what does this intention means in future slide. So because these two important things like attention, emotions are not very much developed, or they are not mature enough, we face a problem of joint attention. Now, what are the different types of joint attention? So there are basically two important things: responding to joint attention and initiation of joint attention. Now, what does that mean? Most of the parents say कि अगर हम बच्चे को दिखाएं, देखो बेटा वो सामने प्लेन जा रहा है स्काई में, वो देख लेगा, देखो बेटा वो जा रहा है, देखो बेटा वो स्काई में क्या है, look at that point, he will be looking there. But अगर हम उसको बोलें खुद से करे, खुद से नहीं करता. Means to say there is no internal desire, there is no self initiation to do things. But अगर हम उसको कराएंगे तो वो कर लेगा. So here, what does that mean? The child is responding to the joint attention, but it is not initiating the joint attention. Now, initiation of the joint attention is very, very important to develop the socialization skills. Why? Suppose there are two kids of the same age group, five or peer group. अब अगर एक बच्चा ऑटिस्टिक है, एक बच्चा न्यूरोटिपिकल है, अगर ऊपर कुछ जा रहा है and he want to show that he suppose he is very fond of aeroplanes, और अगर ऊपर एरोप्लेन जा रहा है in the sky, and if the autistic kid is not able to show that aeroplane, so what will happen कि because अगर उसका peer or maybe any other person, he may show that, oh, this is going an aeroplane you are very fond of, he may look at that, that is responding. But अगर वो खुद से करना चाहेगा, he will not be able to do that. So the in majority of the cases, what we have found that responding to joint attention is there in the kids, but initiation of joint attention is not there. And this initiation of joint attention is very, very important to proceed successfully in developing socialization skills. So why this joint attention doesn't happen in the kids? Maybe either they're due to the lack of self-regulation or emotion, which I've told. Maybe they are not very focused enough to that particular object. The second most important thing is eye contact, which is very, very important. अगर हम कोई चीज देखना है, उसको हमारा eye contact वहां तक जाना चाहिए. So, or you can say they are not oriented to particular speech sounds. Now that is a little different thing, what we call as auditory sensitivity issues. अगर हम उसको कुछ बोल रहे हैं, he may not respond to that. That is a different thing. It is beyond this lecture. But these are the various factors which affect the children in the spectrum in responding to correct joint attention. Now, the second most important thing is imitation. What does imitation mean? Now, imitation is not a big thing if we talk about. Naturally, बच्चे जो है, normally they develop so many things naturally through imitation, and we don't know how easy the life is. But for us, the life is so much tough that each day we have to teach each and single small steps. Even if drinking in a glass of water is a big process for us to teach them. It may take some weeks, it may take days. So this is how that it becomes such a difficult task for us. But in a normal neurotypical developing kids, it's happened so smoothly and we feel life is so easy. So what is actually imitation? Now, imitation is an advanced behavior where an individual observes and repeats another behavior. It's just a technical term I've used, but simple language, we all know imitation means developing or copying things naturally by seeing others. It may be reading, it may be copying, or it may be doing things, whatever it may be. So I've just given a simple example. Here the father is using a tie, the child is also trying to make a knot in the tie. So this is an example of joint attention, imitation. So what is imitation? Now, why imitation is important? Now, imitation is another important predictor, or it is a marker for developing socialization skills. For example, now you will be surprised to know that imitation happens as early as at the age of 4 to 5 months. Now, for example, this a small diagram I have shown. I request participants to please kindly mute yourself. for the smooth going of the lecture. Now, so I was telling that imitation happens as early as at the age of 4 to 6 months. Now, this diagram I have shown. Now, this is a small kid, maybe of a 5 to 6 months age, and this is his mother is holding in, and the mother, this is the mother, and the mother is holding in a laps. Now, what happens? Imagine, suppose you are taking a kid, 6 months old infant in your hand, and you just hold him and shake him like this, or you give him a smile like this, or any smile, or you smile like this. So what will happen in response to that smile? Child also gives you a smile. So this is what we call as reciprocal imitation. Now this thing, if we observe very carefully, although in most of the cases we are not able to pick up these early markers of autism deficits, and we generally happen to pick up even by the clinicians, even by the parents, as late as 18 months to 2 years. But these deficits do happen as early as the age of 4 to 6 months. So if it would have been an autistic kid, what happened? If the mother is giving a smile, there won't be any response by the child. He will be either looking there, or he may not respond to it. He will be just sitting like idle without any facial expression. But if a neurotypical child of this similar age of 4 to 6 months, if you give him a hug, he will just, if the mother gives him the smile, in response to his reciprocal reaction, he will also smile. He will look into his eyes, giving that eye contact, what we call as reciprocal imitation. So this is the importance of imitation, which we can pick up as early as at the age of 4 to 6 months, to suspect, yes, something is going abnormal from a normal pathway of development. So then comes the importance of eye contact. So this is the third most important fundamental, that is the eye contact. Now, why eye contact is important? Now, again, it is a very controversial topic. There are two schools of thoughts for it. Some say that eye contact is not important. Some say that eye contact is important. But the important thing in between that is, we should not force the child to develop an eye contact. See, why I'm telling this, it is important or not. We have to motivate the child to develop an eye contact. As I was telling, that eye contact is very, very important, in the sense that through the eyes you can talk a lot of things. You can read the emotions of others. You can show your reactions. You can show your anger. You can show your happiness. So it's just a way of expressing non-verbally. It is a very important mode of communication, which helps you to read the faces and give your expressions to others. So now coming to why eye contact why eye contact is not important in some persons, or due to some school of thought. The thing is that, suppose कभी कभी हम ये सुनते हैं और पेरेंट्स भी बताते हैं कि आई कांटेक्ट नहीं है तो क्या हो गया, ये सब कुछ कर रहा है, ये पियानो बजाता है, ये कलरिंग करता है, he does lot of things. But the problem is, अगर आप देखोगे कि अगर आपके घर में कोई रिलेटिव्स आता है, if you tell him to shake hand, he may be shaking the hand, looking here and there, or he may not be interested, or he may be, you are going in a theater or you are going to somewhere, the person greets him with handshake karega, but ye aise aise idhar dekhega. So here comes the priority for us. See, the important thing is that how many of our kids who are on the spectrum may be successful in towards this extracurricular activities. The percentage of children succeeding in extracurricular activities is very less compared to the incidence and prevalence of autism, which is growing at a speed in India and globally. So here we have to give up priorities, that suppose what happens if the child is not succeeded in that extracurricular activities, if you ignore that eye contact and he doesn't succeed in those particular activities, either dancing, music, or sports, or any other, then what will happen? Then there'll be problems. Then those important things of eye contact will start developing our mind, will start disturbing us. कि यार ये बात करते हुए देखता नहीं है, वो ऐसे देखता है. You imagine yourself as a 12-year-old child, a 12-year-old kid is when he's gesturing with others or responding to others. If he looks here and there, how will the people will respond, or how you will feel? Suppose he's not succeeded in those extracurricular activities. So this is very, very important. Eye contact is that it is very important to promote a successful and mature socialization skills and healthy relationship with others. It may be your family members, it may be your relatives, or it may be XYZ person. So here I'm not telling that we have to, we have to force the child to develop eye contact. We have to motivate the child to develop eye contact. Now, why eye contact doesn't happen in kids, we will discuss this. Now, why this eye contact doesn't happen in kids? Now, these are very interesting studies and research which has come about. people say that again I'm telling ki eye contact karana zaruri nahi hai. See, it's not that people don't give eye contact or they don't feel like giving an eye contact. The thing is that the internal system or the system of the brain or the the brain system or the body system is not mature enough to give a direct contact or eye gaze, what we call, with others. Why? Because what happens, they have research have shown and evidences have shown that there are some subcortical areas of the brain which are very, very important for this developing eye contact. So what happens when we give an eye contact? Suppose when an autistic child gives an eye contact or direct gaze with another person, there is an imbalance of neurotransmitters happens in these subcortical areas. And because of this this imbalance of these neurotransmitters, between the excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitters, which happens in the subcortical areas, it causes an overactivation of this subcortical brain system, as a result of which the child goes into a state of nervousness, or it may go into a state of an excitement or anxiety. As a result, he want to avoid that eye contact. So we must have seen and we must have experienced also that ho sakta hai, out of 10 times he may give an eye contact to 2 times, he may give an eye contact 3 times, or rest of the times he may not give. Or ye bhi hota hai, he may give an eye contact with the parents, with the known person, but with an unknown person he may not give. Why? Because the situations are different, the reactions to those situations are different in the brain. As a response to those different environmental systems, there is a disimbalance happen. Now, why this disimbalance between the excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitters happens? It is again multifactorial. It may be environmental issues, it may be genetic issues. Now, what genetic issues? Nobody knows, because till now we don't know what is the cause of autism. So, coming to the environmental issues, the sense of that person, the child may not like it. The voice of that person, he may not like it. The environment where he's standing, he may not like it. As a result of those environmental issues, when the child tries to give that eye contact to that person, there is an overstimulation happens in his brain system, subcortical area, as a result of which this imbalance happens between the neuro and excitatory. So he will just avoid that eye contact and he will either run away from there, or he may suddenly go there on the sofa and sit idly. So depending upon the response, which excitatory or inhibitory goes in dominance, the child may either run away from the situation or may sit very calmly in one place without talking, and as though he's very shy to unknown person. We might have experienced these things. So now coming to the socialization funnel or sensory funnel. Now, please mute yourself. Now, I have given this diagram to explain that how this socialization happens. Now, if you see this funnel, the base is the sensory, then is the awareness, then is the focus, then is the emotion, and then comes the socialization. So normally what happens, generally होता है हम sensory पे काम करते हैं, हम sensory activities करा रहे हैं, sensory diet करा रहे हैं, उसके बाद सीधा what happens, बच्चा socialize नहीं कर रहा, बच्चा अपना self sensory तो मैम हम बहुत करा रहे हैं, we are doing lot of sensory activities, we are going to OTs, but socialize नहीं हो रहा. The problem is that from the sensory area, we directly go to the social area. We forget about these 3 parameters, which are the fundamentals and the backbone of developing socialization, which is awareness, focus, and emotions. We don't work on these parameters. We just work on the sensory, and we directly want to achieve the socialization. See, socialization is a very high, executive function. It's a very high executive function. So to develop that socialization skills, we have to go step by step from sensory to awareness to focus and emotion. Now, for awareness, focus, and emotions, the 3 important things which will make them develop is joint attention, imitation, and eye contact. So these are the 3. This is the importance of these 3 important fundamentals: joint attention, imitation, and eye contact. That if we develop these 3 parameters, we will be succeeded in developing from sensory to awareness, focus, and emotions. And if we are succeeded in developing these 3 parameters, the socialization will naturally come in our case. It will naturally come. And after socialization, then comes the executive functions: planning, cognition, execution, administration, planning, which help in our employment, which help in our day-to-day life, in our adult life. So that is a different thing. But the socialization will naturally come if we work on these 3 parameters, working in a stepwise manner from sensory to awareness to focus and emotions. So then comes coming to the, now just picturize this socialization funnel or the sensory funnel in your mind, or just take a snapshot of it, because I'll be discussing in relation to this funnel. So what is the importance of sensory play? See, sensory play is very, very important. Basically, if I talk about sensory play, there are basically three important stages of sensory play. What we call as embodiment or the sensory play. The second is the projective play. The third is called the role play. So I think I have, yes, this is the diagram. So, so these are the three stages which are there. Sensory play. Now, sensory play means that here the child tries to develop the awareness of his body. कि मैं कहाँ खड़ा हूँ, मैं किधर हूँ, मेरा पैर कीचड़ में है, मेरा फेस मैसी हुआ है, या मैं किसी डमी से खेल रहा हूँ, या सॉफ्ट टॉय से खेल रहा हूँ, या इस दाल से खेल रहा हूँ, या इस टेक्सचर से खेल रहा हूँ. How I feel my reaction, how my body give responses to such reactions, how I feel comfortable. Most of the times we see कि ये बच्चा ये टेक्सचर में अगर हाथ डालेगा तो इसको कंफर्टेबल नहीं है. ही इज कंफर्टेबल इन प्लेइंग विद वाटर, ही इज नॉट कंफर्टेबल इन प्लेइंग विद मड. He is comfortable in eating this particular texture dal. He is not comfortable in eating this dal. He is comfortable using Colgate. He is not comfortable in using red Colgate. So why these things happen? Because the sensory awareness, or what we call as self-awareness, or the body awareness is not there. Now, unless and until this is not there, we cannot work on social awareness. From sensory awareness, we have to develop social awareness, and then only we can succeed further. अब सेंसरी प्ले में दो थ्री इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स, एम्बॉयडेंट और सेंसरी प्ले. एज आई वाज टॉकिंग कि बच्चा, सपोज आई गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, हमारे पास एक वी हैव टेकन अ टब ऑफ वाटर एंड बच्चा उस पानी में खेल रहा है विद हिज हैंड्स. वो हाथ को फील कर रहा है, ऐसे डाल रहा है, ऐसे कर रहा है. सो ही इज फीलिंग दैट सेंसेशन ऑफ वाटर कि मेरे हाथ में कैसा फील हो रहा है. दैट इज मीन्स ही इज इन अ स्टेज ऑफ सेंसरी प्ले. ही हैज नॉट येट डेवलप्ड his senses. He has not yet developed, or he is not mature enough to develop his senses, how it feels in a hot water, cold water, different textures. Now, suppose child takes a pencil or he takes some toy and he starts putting, or a fish, and he starts using it in the water और पानी में डाल के उसको खेलता है. He is feel that ये fish कैसे feel कर रही है. He is doing what? With the playing with a fish or playing with some toy in the water. So that is called as a projective play. Projective play means he is now using some external substance to feel how it feels in the water. So that's what we call as projective play. कि कुछ वो suppose for example if he is not having a fish, he may be using some toy and he is using it as a fish or using it in the water. So he is introducing something into the water, so that we call as projective play. Now the third which comes is called the role play. Now role play means he is playing the role that yes, suppose again what we can say that he's using the fish or taking the fish and using keeping it in the underwater and playing with that fish. So he's utilizing that object as a fish so that he can play with that. Now these stages normally develop in the age of, suppose I would say that sensory play starts right from the birth. And sensory needs are, it's not that it will be कि अगर आज बच्चा 6 साल का हो गया तो sensory play नहीं करता. Sensory play can occur at any stage, and it is the fundamental to develop anything. Socialization or emotions, interactions, joint attention, actions, smell, taste, he can develop those senses. Then projective play, it normally happens in the age of 3 to 5 years, or start maybe so 2.5 years to 4 years. After that becomes the role play. Now, normally the role play develops by the age of 6 to 7 years, but these things again are deficit or maybe lacking compared to the peer age group. So this is the importance of the play. Now, what are the benefits of these sensory play? It helps you to get interact with the environment, engages with the environment. It develops your interaction with others, language concepts. Suppose you and the child is playing. Oh wow, this is water. How you're feeling it? So you can develop so many things with it. Interaction, communication, joint attention, eye contact, emotional regulation. Suppose you are playing with a hot water and a cold water. So how he feels, he may say, oh, or like this, oh, cool. So you may develop that emotions, you may develop that facial expressions. So this is the importance of sensory play, tactile sensory issues, development of the senses, feeling of senses, or what self-awareness. Now, what are the various factors or evidence-based practices which have been there? These are the evidence-based practices which have been proved to be useful in developing those predictors of joint attention and imitation. One is called as a pivotal response training, natural environmental training, discrete trial training, storytelling, social stories, we all know that. Video modeling, we also know what does video modeling means. So I'll just describe about pivotal response training, or what is called as PRT. Now, what does this Yeah. Now, what does this PRT means? Now, pivotal response training means it is a natural environment. You have to play in a natural environment, and it is child centered. Now, most what happens normally, suppose you are playing with a kid. Okay, your kid is 4 to 5 years, and you are playing with him any game. Suppose you are playing with a toy, or he's playing with a car, and he may be throwing it like that, or he may be playing with a wheel. Normally, what happens? We'll be saying, "Aise nahi karna. You play like this. Okay, give it to me, or you give it to me." So one thing is there, it should be child centered. It should be in a natural environment, means to say you have to play with the child without any rules and regulations. You don't have to tell the child that this is your boundaries. You have to play like this. You have to play like this. There should not be any rules and regulations. For example, suppose your kid is playing with the toys and he's not interested in the toy. He's not interested in a constructive play. He's playing with the wheel of the toy, he's just rotating it. So what happens? You also start playing parallel play with the toy. You also get one toy and you also start rotating with the wheels. Now he's rotating one particular wheel, you also start rotating wheel, you start rotating the other wheel. And so gradually you start rotating all the four wheels. So what will happen? The child will see and he will, his psychology, and he will feel that, oh, I'm doing something interesting, which my father is also liking it. He will be also start rotating that wheel. Instead of telling him, no, this is not good, you are doing something wrong, that will irritate him. He will do more because you will be giving him response to his actions. So he will do more actions. So you start rotating with that particular wheel in a some different way. So he might feel, yes, this wheel rotation is something interesting for my father also. So he'll be also doing it in a one particular way. You rotating the red wheel, he might be rotating the red. You rotating the left or the the back of the back wheel, he might be doing that. So in this way, he will start developing that observation. He will start developing that eye contact. He will be focusing. So then what you can do? Okay, I'm rotating this wheel in this way. Try to rotate. You don't tell him, just describe the natural environment. Okay, I'm rotating this wheel, I'm rotating this car, this is yellow car. Okay, it has four wheels. So you don't have to, you just describe that natural environment in the form of a picture. You don't have to give him or don't have to put up the questions in the form of what, when, and where. It should be a natural environment and it should be child centered. Means to say, you pick up that object which the child is interested in, and then accordingly with that object you start playing with the child. There may be 100 of objects and you want to make the child to play with this. He's not interested. He's interested in that blue color toy which he might have played hundreds of times. Doesn't matter if he's playing with that, let him play with that, but you start developing that skill through that object. Now then comes the discrete trial training. Now discrete trial training is basically is a set of instructions which we give it to the child in order to develop his eye contact and following instructions. For example, suppose you tell him that, okay, I'm using the word, suppose Varun. Varun is my son. Suppose Varun, get me a glass of water, or Varun, close the door, or simple command, Varun, touch the door. Now what will happen? You might say hundreds, you might say 10 times, he may not listen. Out of 10 times, he may just listen to once. So here works the discrete trial training. You have to work, you have to break this sentence, Varun, close the door, into small, small steps. How you have to follow? First important thing is that it works on the basis of reinforcement. Now, suppose he is very fond of chocolate or particular toy. You will start telling, okay, this is the chocolate, Varun. Look here, I will give you the chocolate. Now, look now, oh Varun, this is your chocolate you are very fond of. As soon as he looks at the chocolate and gives you an eye contact, you give him that instruction, close the door. Now, so important thing is that eye contact gaining is very, very important. So once he gives that eye contact, you tell him, Varun, close the door. The instruction should be once. Now give a pause, wait for 30 to 40 seconds, at least 30 seconds, how he responds, because we know that brain processing responding to commands is slow. So it should not be in 30 seconds, you tell him 10 times or 20 times, close the door, close the door. No. The important thing is that prerequisite, he should take the eye contact. As soon as he takes the eye contact, give the instruction, wait for the command that if he does or not. Suppose he's not able to do that, you give him the prompt. That side. It may be either gestural prompt, it may be in the form of pointing. Suppose he goes in that direction. Now he doesn't know if it is a door or not. Tell him there, close the door. That is the door. Then once he do that, succeeding in that, either maybe in the form of through the prompts, verbal or gestural prompts. Once he do that, then give him the reward. So this is what we call as discrete trial training. Here, it is very, very useful in giving instructions to the child, following instructions, helping them to develop motivation, and importantly, developing eye contact. So this was a bit about our presentation. So now I will be directly going to the questions now. So this was just a bit about to explain you that how we can work on these parameters and what are the basics behind the socialization skills. So so now we'll be beginning with the questions. Any parents, please can ask your questions, please now.
Hello, sir. Good evening. This is Nitu.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, I want to ask regarding social stories. At a time, how many social stories we can start? There is some sequence, or if we take a topic, we should complete that topic, and then we have to be start another, or we can start a variety of topics simultaneously.
Ma'am, it all depends upon the ability of the child. Now, first of all, the most important thing is that we should know what is his level of communication. Now, suppose the level of communication for the child is not that developed enough that he is not able to follow that single instructions, then there is no point for going for the social stories. Now, for the social stories to happen, the most important thing is that receptive skills. How important the receptive language of the child. Suppose if I've given that example of a simple example, close the door, if he's not able to understand that simple command, he will not be able to follow that social stories. So instead of that, what has happened, instead of you know, describing the social stories, you do picture you do picture description. Instead of, means to say that you take a picture of any particular scenario. It may be mountains or garden, then describe that through the pictures. So it should not be an abstract describing, it should be visual describing, or what we call spatial describing. But again, it depends upon how is the receptive language of the child. The most important thing is that if his receptive skills are good enough to develop to understand 2 to 3 word commands or complex commands, then we can proceed with that. So basically, storytelling helps you in developing your language.
Sir, can I ask?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
सर मेरा बच्चा हाइपर एक्टिव है एंड अटेंशन डेफिसिट ADHD उसको प्रॉब्लम है।
2
साल तक ही वाज अ नॉर्मल किड, ही वाज लो बर्थ वेट बच्चा। तो 2 साल में जब वो चलना और दौड़ना शुरू किया उसने, धीरे 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 उसने हमारी बातें सुनना, हमें रिपीट करना, जो भी एक नॉर्मल बच्चा करता था, पॉइंटिंग समझना, वो सब कुछ वो रिग्रेशन होता गया उसको।
ठीक है।
अब तो वो दौड़ता भागता ही, अब 4 साल का वो हो गया है। अब मैं उसकी अटेंशन कैसे गेन करूं? एक्टिविटीज मैं बिठा के करवा लेती हूँ उससे, जो भी करवानी हो। कमांड फॉलोइंग 10 दिन अगर एक कमांड दूंगी तो वो 11वें दिन खुद कर लेगा। बट अटेंशन कैसे लूं? वो आगे पीछे देखेगा अपनी दुनिया में या भागना चाहेगा।
मैम देखो, हाँ मैम, पहली बात तो ये है कि हम जनरली जो अटेंशन डेफिसिट है ना, ADHD, हम उसको बहुत ज्यादा मिसयूज करने लगे हैं। सी ये नहीं है कि बच्चा कोई भी भाग रहा है इधर उधर, या इधर भाग रहा है या आपकी बात नहीं सुन रहा, फोकस नहीं कर रहा। इट इज नॉट दैट ही इज ADHD. फॉर अ डायग्नोसिस ऑफ ADHD टू बी मेड, there is a minimum criteria of the age of 4 years. Before the age of 4 years, we cannot make the diagnosis of ADHD. Now, 90% of the cases में जो बच्चे spectrum में है, there is some background music, if possible, please kindly. So, in 90% of the cases में जो बच्चे हमारे spectrum में होते हैं, उनमें जो ये hyperactivity है, it depends upon the various factors. Either it may be sensory issues, it may be communication issues. अब अगर उसको नहीं पढ़ना, सपोज आप कोई चीज पढ़ा रहे हो, उसको नहीं पढ़ना, अगर वो वर्बली कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर पाता या अपनी कमांड्स को या अपनी डिमांड्स नहीं बता पाता, तो हाउ ही विल रिएक्ट? ही विल डू समथिंग मिस्चिफ सो दैट ही गेन्स योर अटेंशन. सो हाउ ही विल गेन द अटेंशन? या तो वहां से भागेगा या चीजें थ्रो करेगा, तो उसको लगे तो आप उसकी तरफ अटेंशन गेन करेंगे. सो देन यू विल फील लाइक दैट कि वो बच्चा सुन नहीं रहा. Other thing होती है sensory issues. Maybe he may not be comfortable in that particular environment. The exposure of the light, the bright light, the texture, the tactile, the proprioceptive. So directly बोलना कि ADHD, अगर ADHD है तो आपका कोई 100% assessment हुआ होगा. That is Vanderbilt scale we use, and we cannot label a child as ADHD before the age of 4 years. So मेरी from my point of view, look into the parameters कि उसका level of speech क्या है.
पहला बोला ना सर, 2 साल तक वो 4-5 वर्ड्स तक बोलता था, फिर रिग्रेशन आया. अब रिग्रेशन आया था, लेकिन अब फिर से मैं 4-5 वर्ड्स तक उसको ले आई हूँ.
ठीक है.
वो टिया, बा, दे, पा, तीन चार वर्ड्स फिर से 2 साल के वाले बोलने लग गया। लेकिन जो आपने पहला बताया ना वही करता है, वो भागेगा फिर जोर से हंसेगा कि मुझे पकड़ो, मैंने नहीं करना ये काम।
एग्जैक्टली
टेंशन गेन करने की वो पहले वाला।
एग्जैक्टली मैम, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ही इज डूइंग एन एस्केप मैकेनिज्म और एस्केप बिहेवियर। सी बच्चा तीन चार चीजों से ही बिहेवियर शो करता है 90% ऑफ द केसेस में। या तो एस्केप बिहेवियर होगा, या सेंसरी होगा, या टेंशन सीकिंग होगा, या यो टेंजिबल, कि मतलब उसको कोई चीज चाहिए, मदर नहीं दे रही है, अब वो हरकतें करेगा, कुछ मिसबिहेव करेगा तो उसको चीज मिलेगी। तो माय सजेशन कि इन चीजों पे आप वर्क करो, देन अकॉर्डिंगली चीजें थोड़ी बेटर हो सकती है। बट एडीएचडी वाला मुझे फैक्टर नहीं लगता। ओके मैम।
हेलो।
अच्छा चलिए, एडीएचडी ना सही सब, तो मैं इसे कैसे अपने बातें कैसे बनाऊं, या इसे नॉर्मल बच्चा कैसे बनाऊं?
मैम
भागता है या मेरी बात नहीं सुनेगा, हंसेगा, दौड़ जाएगा, मुझे पकड़ो।
मैम इतने छोटे से टाइम में ना इतनी सारी चीजें नहीं बता सकता मैं आपको। पहली बात तो नॉर्मल और एबनॉर्मल कुछ नहीं है, बच्चा नॉर्मल ही है, बट ये है कि उसका चीजें देखने का डिफरेंट है। ओके ओके मैम।
हेलो।
हेलो।
Yeah, good evening, sir. Ankita this side.
Yeah,
I am a mother of a 1 year and 8-month-old child, and my son got infected CMV during my pregnancy only.
Okay.
And right now I have been taking certain EIP programs, but whatever efforts I am putting in on daily basis, like you had discussed the point of joint attention, na. So matlab, he does not focus, matlab, he does not even listen to what I'm saying. He looks here and there. When I start playing with him with the toy, like in the EIP program, they have told me that you have to take an open container and ask him to put in the toys here and then take them out of it. But he starts throwing the toys one by one here and there on the floor, and then starts looking at the floor that where the toy has fallen. And he does not, he's not following my command, he's not even imitating. Right now so he is quite young, like 1 year and 8 month old. But I want that early intervention should work, or I should start early so that I may not be late. Because from the very beginning, since he was born, I know that he has global development delays, physically so matlab, he is improving with those occupational therapy which I have been taking. But mentally, now for the first year I was concerned for the physical development of my child, but now I am more concerned about the mental development, because he is not even imitating anything. He does not know that this is my finger and this is my hand, this is my leg, मतलब कुछ नहीं पता उसे।
मैम इसीलिए दैट इज व्हाट एग्जैक्टली, तो आप वो चीजें अभी इंस्ट्रक्शन फॉलोइंग तो आप भूल जाएंगे, वो इट्स अ नेक्स्ट थिंग। तो सबसे पहले जो मैंने चीज बताई थी सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, सेंसरी, अभी बच्चा सेंसरी प्ले में ही अटका हुआ है और वो अभी रहेगा क्योंकि ही इज क्वाइट यंग। सो राइट नाउ आवर एम शुड बी टू डेवलप दैट सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, कि उसको पता लगे मेरे बॉडी पार्ट्स कैसे फील करते हैं, मेरी बॉडी पे कुछ चीजें गिर जाएं तो मेरा रिएक्शन कैसे होगा, हाउ आई मैं फील माई टेक्सचर, माई फील ऑफ माई बॉडी अवेयरनेस, मैं कहाँ खड़ा हूँ, मैं गिर तो नहीं जाऊंगा, मुझे इतना स्पीड पे भागना है या मुझे इतना चलना है, मुझे ऐसे करना है। अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल ही इज थ्रोइंग द टॉयज एंड इज फीलिंग हैप्पी बिकॉज उसके जो ऑडिटरी सेंसिटिविटी इश्यूज जिसको हम बोलते हैं वो ज्यादा हाई है। ठीक है, अब कभी कभी होता है ये इस चीजों से ज्यादा खेलेगा, इस चीजों से नहीं खेलेगा, इट माइट बी टेक्टाइल इश्यूज ऑल्सो। ठीक है, सो ये है
tactile issues so he is facing, मतलब he is so willing to touch hairy surfaces. I don't know why he keeps pulling my hair all the time, he keeps touching my chin all the time, मतलब even if he is in sleep, at the middle of the night he'll wake up and start touching my hair. So I feel like what is this going on, मतलब पहले ऐसा नहीं था, अब now from the last 2-3 weeks he gets up at night and starts touching my hair
basically क्या basically what happens कि वो pull और क्यों कर रहा है, he might be getting that, you know, that extra sensory need is enhanced, that he may be comfortable, he is happy in touching your hairs because he might be, his sensory needs might be fulfilled with that texture of your hairs. Okay, he
so
might not.
What can we do for that?
What see,
I cannot let him touch my hair throughout the day.
नहीं वो नहीं कर सकते, दिस इज द थिंग, यू हैव टू वर्क विद योर ओटी और वर्क आइदर यू कैन गेट इन टच, वी हैव टू वर्क ऑन हिज सेंसरी डाइट और सेंसरी एक्टिविटीज। ठीक है, अब जो सेंसरी सिस्टम इट इज अ क्वाइट वास्ट सिस्टम, देयर आर डिफरेंट 8 सेंसरी सिस्टम, सो वी हैव टू वर्क अकॉर्डिंगली टू द चाइल्ड and to discuss कि उसका sensory needs कहाँ पे हैं, then accordingly we have to provide those activities. But the thing is that right now you have to work on his sensory. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask?
Yes.
And so he has not started chewing भी बिल्कुल अभी तक डेवलप नहीं हुआ है, स्पीच तो बिल्कुल नो के बराबर ही है, पर चूइंग भी बिल्कुल नहीं आया, तो सब कुछ आई हैव टू गिव हिम इन प्यूरिड फॉर्म।
एज कितनी है मैम?
1 year and 8 months.
ठीक है। और चूइंग के अलावा और
स्पीच।
अभी क्या बोल लेता है वो?
इन जनवरी he had started saying आजा आजा, बट अब वो भी नहीं बोलता हो। ये पहले तो आजा आजा वाह 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 कुछ बोलना शुरू किया था, अब तो वो भी नहीं बोलता बिल्कुल। मतलब 1-2 दिन में जाके एक आवाज निकालता है।
देखो मैम, स्पीच आने के लिए ना, स्पीच बहुत हायर चीज होती है। उससे पहले हमारे पास कुछ बेसिक प्रीरिक्विजिट्स होती हैं जिसको हम बोलते हैं चुइंग, ब्लोइंग, ठीक है, सकिंग, और उसके बाद स्वॉलिंग या चुइंग, ब्लोइंग। तो ये चीज, और देन कम्स द साउंड्स जिसमें हम बोलते हैं देयर अप्रॉक्सिमेटली 15 to 16 साउंड्स आर देयर, लाइक मा पा बा। देन कम्स द मैंडिंग, जहाँ पे बच्चा ज्वाइनिंग करके आगे आगे करेगा। सो अगर ये प्रीरिक्विजिट्स नहीं है तो दैट मींस हिज ओरोमोटर सेंसरी इश्यूज आर हाई. So you have to work with the oral placement therapist or with your OT who is certified enough to know the oromotor sensory issues. So accordingly, those things, once his orosensory needs are fulfilled or they are satisfied, then you can work on his sounds. हो सकता है कि ये चीजें swallow करता होगा, chew नहीं करता होगा। हो सकता है कि इसको अपना face messy पसंद है या बहुत ज्यादा clean रखना पसंद है। हो सकता है कि ये पर्टिकुलर टेक्सचर का खाना खाता होगा और नॉर्मल नहीं, और चीजें नहीं खाता होगा। सो दीस थिंग्स इंडिकेट द ओरोमोटर इश्यूज। सो उन चीजों पे हमको वर्क करना है, देन अकॉर्डिंगली वी कैन वर्क।
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask? Sir, I'm Shweta.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have a kid who is 4.2 years old, and at the age of 3, he got what we say, पूरा उसका वो हो गया assessment.
Psychological assessment.
हाँ सर, तो वहाँ पता चला कि he is having autism. तो सर एट द एज ऑफ 3 वो आई कांटेक्ट 0, सब कुछ 0 था सर, कुछ भी नहीं, कुछ फॉलो नहीं करना, नथिंग एंड बैबलिंग भी नहीं था, कुछ भी नहीं था। बट ग्रेजुअली आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन हिम कि मैंने उसका फिर अटेंशन लिया। ऑल ऑफ अ सडन मैंने देखा कि इमिटेशन स्टार्ट कर रहा है, तो मैंने उसके ऊपर काम करना स्टार्ट किया, तो उसके इमिटेशंस डेवलप हुए। आफ्टर दैट मैंने इमिटेशंस को ही यूज कर उसका स्पीच डेवलप किया सर। तो अभी वो हर वर्ड बोल लेता है एंड नेम को भी रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहा है, हाइपर एक्टिविटी कम हो गई है, अब वो 4.2 का है। तो सर मैंने मतलब 1-2 लोगों से सुना है कि पहले तो ऑटिज्म डिटेक्ट हुआ, फिर धीरे धीरे करते करते मेरे बेटे का फिर ADHD हो गया, फिर कम करते 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 वो निकल ही गया बाहर सारा चीज से। तो सर क्या ये मतलब ये ऐसा होता है कि बच्चा मतलब ऐसे धीरे धीरे करके निकल जाता है, कि या फिर ऑटिज्म कम एज में डिटेक्ट नहीं होता, ऐसा भी सुना है सर मैंने।
Please kindly mute yourself. The parents are asking the questions. I request please kindly mute yourself. देखिए मैम, क्या होता है कि जो ऑटिज्म के जो प्रिकर्सर्स होते हैं, मतलब कि ऑटिज्म बनना तो शुरू हो जाता है जब बच्चा पेट में होता है, ठीक है। और जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि 4 से 6 महीने में भी हम डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं ऑटिज्म को। बट प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि जो क्लिनिकली जो जनरली हम पहले हमारे जो बिहेवियर होता है वो नेग्लिजेंस का होता है कि नहीं बोल रहा कोई बात नहीं, बोल लेगा। नॉर्मली बच्चे कोई 3 साल पे बोलता है, अच्छा कम बोलता है कोई बात नहीं। बट जब वो 18 to 2 years के पास आता है और जब हम वो चीजें ऑब्जर्व करने लगते हैं कि ये बच्चा तो इस उम्र में ये सारी चीजें कर रहा है, मेरा बच्चा नहीं कर रहा, तो हम वो ऑटिज्म की तरफ या वो चीजें हमारे कंसर्न करने लगती हैं कि यस ये प्रॉब्लम्स है, ठीक है। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले नहीं था और बाद में आता है, चीजें तो पहले ही डेवलप हो जाती हैं, बट हमारे सामने आती हैं लेट। अब रही बात क्या एक बच्चा ऑटिज्म में है तो क्या वो बाहर निकल जाता है? देखो पहली बात तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि बाहर निकलेगा या ऑटिज्म में रहेगा। दो थिंग जो होती है कि हमको बच्चे के ऊपर काम करना होता है, जिसके लिए हम बोलते हैं अर्ली इंटरवेंशन। अब अगर आप एक बच्चे के ऊपर काम करते हैं, अर्ली इंटरवेंशन का मतलब होता है राइट फ्रॉम द बर्थ टू द एज ऑफ 4 to 5 years। अगर हम इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स में बात करें, अर्ली इंटरवेंशन मतलब बर्थ से 3 साल तक, बट भारत में हम ले लेते हैं अप टू 5 years तक। वाई वी यूज दिस? क्योंकि अगर एक बच्चे पे आपने 3 साल पे काम किया और एक बच्चे पे आपने 5 साल पे काम करना शुरू किया, तो आपको रिजल्ट 3 साल के बच्चे में हो सकता है 1 साल में मिले, 5 साल के बच्चे में आपको रिजल्ट्स मिले 4 साल में या शायद ना मिले। क्योंकि 5 साल के बच्चे की जो ब्रेन होती है, इट इज इक्विवेलेंट टू द ब्रेन ऑफ द साइज ऑफ अ 40-year-old चाइल्ड, 40-year-old पर्सन। तो अगर एक 40 साल के आदमी को आप कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शन दोगे, काम करने को बोलोगे, क्या वो करेगा? नहीं करेगा। इट इज सिमिलर टू अ 5-year-old चाइल्ड। अगर आप उसको कुछ बोलने की कोशिश करोगे, उसको अपनी तरफ मोल्ड करोगे, वो नहीं करेगा, बिकॉज नाउ हिज ब्रेन इज मेच्योर इनफ कि मुझे नहीं करना। ही फील्स दैट लेवल कि मैं बड़ा हूं, मैं क्यों सुनूं, मैं ऐसे करूंगा। So that is why it is the concept of what we call as early intervention। जितना जल्दी हम इन बच्चों पे काम करते हैं, उतना हम उनको अपनी तरफ मोल्ड कर सकते हैं। एंड द बेस्ट जो आपने बताया, you have acted as a therapist for your child, that is the best thing, because parents जितना काम कर सकते हैं और डिवोशन से कोई थेरेपिस्ट कोई डॉक्टर नहीं कर सकता। ठीक है।
सर कि मैंने जैसे काम किया तो मैंने ये भी ऑब्जर्व किया कि मैंने उसको धीरे धीरे करके पॉटी ट्रेन किया। और सर मतलब जो जो चीजें जैसे साइकिलिंग सिखा दिया 3 डेज, और मेरा बेटा ना सर हर चीज को सीखना चाहता है। आई कांटेक्ट डेवलप हुआ सर, हाँ सर, हर चीज को सीखना चाहता है। अगर कोई चीज से नहीं हो रहा है, ही विल ट्राई एट हिज बेस्ट कि मुझे ये करना ही है।
बहुत 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 अच्छे मैम, आप बस ऐसे ही लगे रहो, बट आपको छोड़ना नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आप छोड़ दोगे, रिलैक्स हो जाओगे, तो हो सकता है बच्चा थोड़ा रिग्रेशन में आ जाए। एटलीस्ट अभी वो यंग है, तो वर्क अनदर फॉर 2 to 3 years। जब तो वंस ही क्रॉसेस दैट पर्टिकुलर एज, उसके बाद हो सकता है कि बच्चा फिर टोटली ही माइट बी इन अ हाई, टोटली हाई फंक्शन।
सर मेरा एक चीज है कि सर आई कांटेक्ट 100% डेवलप करना है कि अभी उसका अराउंड 70-80% आई कांटेक्ट डेवलप हो चुका है सर।
तो मैम जैसे आप काम कर रहे हैं वैसे काम करते रहिए, धीरे धीरे डेवलप हो जाएगा। मैंने आपको वही चीज बताई कि फोर्स नहीं करना, मोटिवेट करना है। जो आप कर रहे हो उसको ऐसी ऐसी एक्टिविटीज में डालो जहां उसका मन करता है, तो वो अपने आप वो चीजें फोकस करके करेगा डेवलप। ओके
सर जॉइंट अटेंशन पे कैसे काम करेंगे, क्योंकि थेरेपिस्ट ने कहा कि अब तो उसका अटेंशन आ गया, जॉइंट अटेंशन पे काम करना है, तो वो तो मुझे करना है, मुझे नहीं पता।
जॉइंट अटेंशन पे आप कैसे काम कर सकते हैं? फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके पास कोई इसका पर्टिकुलर टॉय है, ठीक है। अब आप उसको सपोज उसको सबसे पहले अपने हाथ पे आगे रखो, देखो ये आपको बहुत ज्यादा पसंद है व्हाट पर्टिकुलर टॉय। अब आपको क्या करना है, उसको एक किसी कोने में रख दो, रूम के किसी कोने में। 4-5 टॉयज के जो फेवरेट है उनको किसी रूम से कोने कोने में छुपा दो, लेकिन उनको बिल्कुल हाइड नहीं करना, थोड़ा सा उनको दिखना है। तो पहले उसको बोलो जो देखो वहां पे आपका टॉय है, शो हिम। अगर वो वहां पे फोकस नहीं कर रहा है, अगर उसने फोकस कर लिया तो मतलब अटेंशन तो आ गया उसका, जॉइंट अटेंशन, लेकिन नहीं है बच्चे में, तो उसमें आपको क्या करना है, धीरे धीरे प्रॉम्प्ट देते जाना है। अच्छा उस वॉल के पीछे, अच्छा गो लिटिल अहेड, उस वॉल के पीछे वहां पे, तो उसको हल्का सा आपको इनिशियली आपको बहुत ज्यादा उसको हाइड नहीं करना, बहुत सिर्फ 10% हाइड करना है, जिससे कि उसको मेजर पोर्शन दिखे। धीरे धीरे आपको फिर 10 से 20% हाइड, 30% हाइड, अल्टीमेटली at the last you have to just hide, you have to just make the toy visible only 10%, 90% should be hide। तो अगर वो आपकी पॉइंट करके वो 10% उसको टॉय दिख गया, दैट मींस यू हैव अचीव्ड दैट जॉइंट अटेंशन। सो इस प्रकार से यू हैव टू स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन द जॉइंट अटेंशन। ठीक है
सर, वो सब कर लेता है सर, वो तो खुद ही ढूंढ के निकाल देता है, बट वो एक्सप्रेसिव नहीं है, वो खुद ही ढूंढ के निकाल दे सारे टॉयज, अगर अगर नहीं मिल रहे तो।
नहीं, खुद ही ढूंढ के निकालना अलग चीज है, जो मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ वो अलग चीज है। आपको पॉइंट करना है, अगर वो पॉइंट करके वहां देख रहा है जहां आपने पॉइंट किया वहां से वो निकालता है, देन दैट इज फाइन। आप कम्युनिकेशन की बात है तो उस पर आप कम्युनिकेशन पे वर्क करो, उसकी लैंग्वेज पे वर्क करो, आप अपने स्पीच थेरेपिस्ट से डिस्कस करो, अगर उसके कम्युनिकेशन वर्बल कमांड्स कितनी है, कितने वर्ड पे है, वो चीजें।
ओके
सर, आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन।
यस मैम।
Sir, this is Sangeeta Roy Chaudhary, and like
Yes.
my son is 3.5, as I've told you earlier also. I just wanted to know regarding this, if someone is coming from outside, so like he's totally an outsider. What my son is like, he has eye contact more or less, what I can feel 70 to 80% for known people. But outsider, like if people are coming, at my home, he avoids that eye contact. So my question to you is that how to develop that eye contact for outsiders?
Exactly. See what you have to do, ma'am. See, बच्चे के लिए outsider is basically a totally unknown person. So सबसे पहले what happens, I have told you कि जब the brain system is not mature enough to face that direct eye gaze with an unknown person. अब क्या होता है, आपके साथ eye contact इसलिए क्योंकि because please mute yourself. आपके साथ eye contact इसलिए because his brain is adapted again and again in response to your eye contact. But when an outsider comes, his brain gets suddenly activated because he's not been activated or he's not been exposed to that person. So the best thing is what you have to do, आपके साथ है, try developing with the father or try developing with any other family member, either with the grandparents or with any other person. Gradually then you introduce the relatives outsider, जो आपको जानते हैं या जो उनकी थोड़ी सी frequently visits आप थोड़ा थोड़ा बढ़ाइए, and then gradually you introduce an unknown person. So these things will gradually work up slowly. Other thing is that look into the sensory factors, कि हो सकता है जब आप आए आप उसको बोलो बेटा ग्रीट करो, he may shake hand but he may avoid the eye contact. The eye contact might be avoiding because of the tactile sensory issues. He may not be comfortable enough in shaking hand. So as soon as he shakes his hand, that tactile touch or tactile touch issues may disturb him, and so he might run away. So these are the ways you can develop. Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Fine.
Hello, sir. My name is Madhuri.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Please. We'll be taking up the last question now.
Madhuri.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, my son is actually 10 years old. He's the problem is self-talk and repetitive talk. Now he understands everything, but he keeps on repeating what's going on around. He's telling the same thing again and again. See, in the class something happened. He repeats almost like 50 to 60 times, like that. So how we can make him understand? I already understood what you have said, so you can tell me some other thing. I'm trying to explain, but again he keeps on repeating the same thing again and again until he gets something interesting to him. So how to handle this issue, sir?
Just one thing, is there ukulele or not?
I means like what is happening around him only he repeats, sir. The thing is that if he wants to celebrate his birthday, because of corona, it did not happen. I can't invite. So he wants to invite all his friends to his next birthday. So he keeps on repeating, next year I want to invite my friends. Next year I want to invite my friends.
Okay, just like one thing. Okay, what is his level of communication?
His level of communication, he can able to communicate his needs and what is his interesting things that he can able to explain.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I would imagine that he can describe a sentence of 1 to 2 words, not more than that.
Not 1 to 2 words. He can 1 to 2 sentences.
1 to 2 sentences.
2 to 3 sentences. Yeah.
Containing how many words?
Yes.
Containing how many words?
Containing words around 3 to 4 words in a sentence.
Okay. So the thing, first of all, I believe that he has that level of communication, but he has not developed that vocabulary or the language. So what you have to do, that since he is a total verbal child, so he is interested and he knows that my birthday is coming and I want to celebrate with my friends, but probably he's not had that level of vocabulary or vocabulary of words. So he's not able to expand that sentence, what further he should say. So instead, what you have to do, start developing his vocabulary. Okay. Suppose he's telling, my birthday is coming, I will call my friends. Now he stop on that. My birthday is coming, I will call my friends. He doesn't know how to proceed further. Start developing that language from here onwards. Okay, yes, your birthday is coming. We'll be celebrating here. Okay, this will be your room. These are the balloons. So probably I feel this is the first most important thing, where because his vocabulary is not developed enough. So start developing his vocabulary right from here. Don't tell him, okay, stop, don't do this. Just from there onwards, you start developing that. Other thing is that you have to look into his sleep issues. Self-talking might be a factor of sensory issues. So look into his sleep issues, look into his fungal issues, gut issues. If those parameters are fine, then you have to just work on his vocabulary. But if those parameters are affected, then you have to work on the gut healing and on those parameters.
Sir, sorry to, the thing is that he doesn't have any sleep issues. He sleeps nicely, but he does bedwetting still. Do you think he must have any gut issues which is related to bedwetting also?
See, it might be, it's difficult to tell right now. Does he have uncontrolled laughter, uncontrolled humming? Without any reason, he may start crying. Without any reason, he may start laughing.
Or he laughs sometimes, but not uncontrollable. He reminds some situation and he starts laughing, but not uncontrollable.
Does he have any bloating issues, constipation, diarrhea, anything like that?
No, sir. No.
No. So probably I don't think he might. See, definitely children who are on the spectrum, they do have gut issues. But it depends upon how severe they are so that we can intervene. We don't have to intervene in each and every child for gut issues. So from right now, I would suggest you to just build up his communication by adding vocabulary. If it doesn't work, then we can look for other factors. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
You. So this, I think now we'll be closing up.
One question. Hello?
Yes, sir, I will be taking this last question, then we'll be closing up the session. Yeah, please.
Exactly, madam said the same things, my kid also, but he's like 5 years, but exactly same matching. So thank you for that. And one more thing, what I have is he predict to play, like he will play like his own, and he will assume something, and he would like he want to play like doctor, he want to play like like travel, Etika car, I want to travel, like that. He keeps on, and he will try to play his alone. He not allowing other kids to join him. Whenever I will say that, no, I want to play my alone, like that he will say.
Okay. See what happens now. What he's doing is what he's doing projective play or the pretend play or the symbolic play. I think he's developed that pretend play, I believe, because you are telling that he's using that particular object and making him like a car or anything. So that is a good thing. Now what you have to do is that he's 4.5 years.
5 years, sir.
5 years. Okay. So directly see what happens. He is more interested in playing alone, but the good thing is that he has developed that projective or stages of play, which we call imaginary play. Now, directly introducing into a peer group will be very, very difficult. Why? Because the child is not aware of the social awareness. And another thing is that when you introduce into a peer group, acceptance levels will be very, very low. The other children of the same age may not accept him, that he is not following the rules, he is not doing that. So as a result, he will be neglected and he will not feel confident enough, or he will feel that I am not being a part of the game, so he'll be happy in playing that. So what you have to do here, you introduce the social play. Now, how you introduce the social play? He is interested in playing a particular toy alone. You become his partner, because father and mother are the best things to become the peers in the initial stages of the child who are in the stage of solitary play. So you introduce yourself as a peer, play with him, tell him, okay, you are playing with this is so nice, okay, give it to me, I will also play with him. Do some activities in which he's interested, so it should be a centered play. Then you introduce the mother, introduce other family members who are known to you and who is comfortable with this. Then you gradually introduce other adult persons. Then you introduce the children who are elder to him. Suppose he's 5 years, introduce children who are 10 years or maybe 12 years, so that he can at least understand them. Okay, doesn't matter. And then when he gradually develops that peer interaction with them, he's comfortable in those kids, then you introduce the peer of the same age group. Okay. So this is the thing where we have to go.
Okay, so that's a good suggestion. Is that impairs in his schooling things, right? So how to handle this? What?
It is impacting his schooling.
Yeah, because other peer people may not be, allowing to play, so he will be alone. So again, so how to?
So that is what I'm telling. See, those things will not happen naturally. Definitely, you must have been discussing with the class teacher. The class teacher must be knowing about his issues. So you just tell him that try to involve him with the kids as much as possible under your supervision. Obviously, you can't leave the child alone with the other peers. So those things will gradually happen over a period of maybe 5 months, 6 months, or a year, depending upon the ability of child and depending upon your efforts and other efforts. So don't worry on those things. How the school we are worried about. You are worried about the peer interaction in the school. Discuss with the teacher. Tell them and be in touch with him. And rest, you start working what I have told you with your kid at home.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, parents. Now we'll be closing up the session for today. And if you have any queries or anything you want to discuss, or if you want to discuss through the social profiling, because we do have a social profiling assessment through which we can know each and every assessment of socialization skill in where the child is lacking, and accordingly we can work. So if you want to discuss more, you can always drop us an email at gigglesclinics@gmail.com, or you can discuss your queries, or for any queries you can drop on the WhatsApp group. Thank you, parents. I hope it was a enjoyable and some interactive session for all of us. Thank you for joining. Thank you.
Sir, any contact number that you can provide?
Contact number we'll be giving the WhatsApp group. You can write the contact number also. 989.
Yes.
1009833.
9833.
Yes,
989. Okay, this is the WhatsApp number. You can drop on the WhatsApp, and accordingly we can tell you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please repeat the contact number.